This episode is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the #1 seller of games and gaming accessories. And GatheringMagic.com, the #1 resource for Magic the Gathering news and articles.
I'm Zach White, level 2 judge out of Montgomery, Alabama, and this is my Risk the Redeemed Commander deck. Alright, so my Risk the Redeemed token deck is basically your typical token deck. Rhys is the general. For land base, we have 8 forests and 5 plains for basics. I like to play a lot more basics than some people because I'll run Thawing Glaciers. We have both duels, Savannah and Temple Garden. Gaea's Cradle, obviously we're playing a token deck, makes a lot of mana. We have Ancient Tomb, which is actually very good with Rhys in order to start making tokens on turn 2, as well as Selesnya Sanctuary. We have both fetches in green-white, Windswept Heath and Krosan Verge. We have Khalni Garden, which is important for making a plant token in case we need a natural order later in the game. And Dryad Arbor as a Greenstone Zenith target, as well as Stirring Wildwood, as we can animate it to, again, natural order or do other things that we need to with it. Utility land-wise, I have a Dust Bowl, a Wasteland, and a Strip Mine for land removal. I have a Horizon Canopy, which acts as a duel and allows me to draw cards. Gavony Township to make all my tokens bigger. Vesuva to copy Deserted Temple or Gavony Township or anything I want that'll make my goal happen quicker. Deserted Temple to untap Gaea's Cradle, because that's actually fair. Oran-Rief the Vastwood, since I make a large amount of tokens, the amount of counters that I will get off of it is usually very large, so it comes into handy. Thawing Glaciers to go get my basics. Reliquary Tower for when I need a Regal Force or just draw a lot of cards with better than me and keep them all. Kor Haven because Fog is usually pretty good, especially against generals. High Market in response so I can sack things instead of getting them stolen. Moving on to creatures, I have Juniper Order Ranger, which combined with Rhys can get obscenely large, and in addition with other things it gets infinite. Mirror Entity, enough said. I run the Saffi Revelar Karmic Guide combo in case I just need to end a game, whether it be with just infinitely recurring to make Juniper Order larger or etc. Ant Queen makes a lot of tokens. Avenger also makes a lot of tokens. Bomb-wise, we have Kamal, who will pump everything that's on the board. Sutton Tide and get back our lower value stuff. Regal Force to draw a lot of cards. Elishnorn because we're playing tokens and we want our guys to be bigger and theirs to be smaller. Woodfall Primus to get rid of those target permanents twice. Sometimes more with Saffi Karmic Guide and Revelar. Craterhoof Behemoth is one of the newer additions to the deck. He's broken in half in tokens because you get 10 or 12 tokens and you play him and everybody on the table dies. With the banning the Primeval Titan, I added Vigor back to the deck. It protects against things like Pyroclasm and things of that nature and actually makes the creatures bigger while doing it. Eternal Witness is self-explanatory. Men of the Meek basically makes Rhys' ability into a card draw engine. Dauntless Escort in response to sweepers. Yavimaya Elder is just a good ramp and draw card. Academy Rector gets all of the broken enchantments that are in this deck, which we'll go over in a little bit. Sakura-Tribe Elder, self-explanatory, need more land. Seedborn Muse, again, self-explanatory, being able to use Rhys every end step gets out of hand very quickly. Joraga Treespeaker, because Rhys makes elf warrior tokens, once you level him to 5, you have even more mana. Oracle of Mul Daya, get more lands. Scavenging Ooze for graveyard hate, and he just gets larger times 2. Moving on to instants and sorceries, we have a very small ramp package in Skyshroud Claim and Explosive Vegetation. We have Tooth and Nail, Natural Order, Eladamri's Call, Chord of Calling, Green Sun Zenith for a tutor package. Green Suns is good because it'll ramp you to 3 mana on turn 2 as well, in addition to all the other things that it does. For removal, we have single target removal for creatures in the form of Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares. Artifact and enchantment removal, I have Return to Dust. Oblation is for anything, and I give him 2 cards in return, which can be good or bad. Krosan Grip, again, artifact enchantment. Fracturing Gust is a card I don't see a lot of people play. It's a very good sweeper for artifacts and enchantments, and you gain life from it. So, for 5 mana, if I'm a little bit behind on the board, sweeping their artifacts and enchantments isn't necessarily so bad. I play Martial Coup, obviously. It makes tokens and sweeps the rest of the board. Pretty good. Austere Command is basically the most flexible sweeper in EDH, and if you're playing white and not playing it, I would probably question why. I only have 2 token making spells in the deck. Stormherd is obvious because 40 creatures for 10 mana or more depending is just insane. And Decree of Justice cycles, which is good if you need 1/1s just to fuel a Gaia's Cradle, or if you have a Gaia's Cradle, you make a ton of major tokens. And then Genesis Wave is Genesis Wave. Back to the broken enchantments, I run Mirari's Wake and Mana Reflection for doubling. I mean, Mirari's Wake also makes them +1/+1, which can be relevant. I run both Doubling Season and Parallel Lives because I'm a token deck. Beastmaster's Ascension with tokens can get out of hand very quickly. It's easy to go from having no counters on it to having enough counters on it to activate the ability. Cathar's Crusade is just insane. So when I bring creature into play, everything on my board gets +1/+1. And you can stack the triggers so that if you want to, for example, make multiple creatures with Ant Queen, you make them in response to these triggers so that all your creatures get the bonus from all of your incoming creatures. Moving on to utility enchantments, we have Survival. Earthcraft with tokens just makes a ton of mana. Martyr's Cause. So what Martyr's Cause does is you can stack a creature to prevent all damage from any one source. With tokens, obviously I have a lot of creatures, so it's easy to fog like the one big attack. Sylvan Library. Aura Shards, again, to get rid of those pesky artifacts and enchantments. Moving on to artifacts, we have a small ramp suite of Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, and Phyrexian Altar, as well as Thran Dynamo. We're a token deck, we want Skull Clan. Crucible of Worlds, especially running Dust Bowl, there's times where I can just Dust Bowl, get a land back, and just keep the board clean where I'd like it without having to sacrifice my own board position. Rings of Brighthearth, we're playing Deserted Temple, we're playing Gaia's Cradle. Yeah. Vidalquinori, because sometimes just flashing in an Avenger at end of turn is really good. Eldrazi Monument, self-explanatory, as is a Chronos Memorial. And Coat of Arms. And that is the deck.
Thanks for watching CMDR Decks. Please subscribe and favorite.